So for dinner tonight, I'm going to be making my homemade mashed potatoes and my creamy garlic chicken. I'm going to start with my potatoes just because they're going to be taking the longest to boil and cook. And then my chicken should only take about 10 to 15 minutes at the most. So in my household, there's a family of 4 and I'm using 6 russet potatoes. You're just going to skin them and then give them a little wash real quick before you start dicing them up and putting them into the pot to boil. Mashed potatoes is one of the favorite things I like to make because it's super easy, super versatile, and I know my kids and my husband will eat them up. And as a family of 4, I used about 6 large russet potatoes and there were still leftovers for the next day, so I saw that as a win in my book. Once you're done chopping them up, you're just going to put a little bit of salt and then add water just enough to cover the potatoes, and then you're going to put them on the stove and leave them alone for a while. Before I started my chicken, of course, I had to have my Dr. Pepper because I cannot live without that Dr. Pepper. And as always, I just thin slice my chicken breast. It doesn't matter what I'm making, I'm always thin slicing them because they're so huge these days. Like, I don't know who can eat all of that, but after that, I just add all my spices. Of course, I cannot live without my paprika. And then I add my Italian seasoning, and then I just coat them a little bit with flour before I put them into the pan with a little bit of olive oil. So for this recipe, I'm going to cook the chicken for 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and then once that's done, I'm going to get a Tupperware container and put the chicken in there to rest for a while I make the sauce. So this recipe asks for heavy whipping cream, but I didn't have heavy whipping cream, so I googled it and it said I can use evaporated milk, and it really didn't come out the same, so next time I won't use it. But that's all I had for today.
Once I added my chicken broth and evaporated milk in, I placed my chicken breast back into the pan and lowered the heat for it to simmer.
So once my chicken's doing its thing in the pan, I then removed my potatoes from the heat, and when you know they're done is when you can get a fork and like just easily poke them through the potatoes without any issues. And then I usually add salt, pepper, sour cream, regular milk. I didn't have heavy whipping cream or else I would use that. Again, that was my fault, but that's what I used. And then lastly, we just threw some corn on the stove.